So if you've been getting into link building lately or you're trying to hire someone to do it for you, you obviously know the benefits of them and you've realised that you need more links, you need them to be of good quality in order to affect your rankings and your traffic. And link building doesn't have to be complicated, however, you need to realise some home truths when it comes to link building. And if you get these fundamentals right, and they're ingrained in your thinking, you'll find it a lot easier to build them and to build the right type of links. So let's dive in. So one of the kind of home truths you have to think about first is relevancy, and the relevancy is king. Link building has been kind of warped by a lot of the high DA link sellers in this respect, and that is, the number one metric you should be chasing is relevancy. It's not, having a DA number of 50 or a trust flow of 30 or getting links that meet a certain metric. That shouldn't be your focus. You want relevant links on relevant pages. The link should be contextual to the topic that's being discussed. The more relevant links you build, the quicker you're going to get results. And you'll often find you can outrank a competitor who has, say, a couple of hundred, spammy links with just a dozen or so very contextual links, and that's even taking the authority metrics into account. I've got plenty of other articles and videos that explain why third-party metrics should be used sparingly, so you can look into those later. But essentially, if you've got a website that's, say, related to construction, and you want links really from industries, blogs, and companies that are associated with construction or their adjacent industries. For instance, like architecture, home maintenance, DIY, landlord news sites, and those kind of things. Whereas a link from a yoga studio, probably isn't going to make much sense unless, of course, there was a page on it where construction is somehow, related to it, and the context of the link makes sense and it looks natural. In that case, it would be relevant. There's so many tactics when it comes to building links, and exactly what you need to do depends on the industry. It depends on the content, what format the content is in, and the sites you're reaching out to. So whether it's resource pages, so a lot of sites have kind of useful links, or useful resource pages, which is essentially a list of sites where the audience could find some use for it. So you could pitch them for a link on there. Brand mentions, that's instances where your company name, or a product, is mentioned and on a site, but they haven't linked to you, so you could then prompt them for a link. Guest posts, so that's creating articles for other sites in related sectors, and they would then publish your article on their blog or the news section, and then you would get a link on the page. And links in existing articles, so you might already have some articles on your content, and the idea is that you would then find articles which are somewhat related to yours, say it expands on a particular aspect of it or it introduces a new concept, and you could potentially have a link added into their article. And there's so many other techniques and tactics you can go into, and these are just some of the most common types. And before you even consider trying to get published on like CNN or New York Times or these other big sites, that's a common thing that I see is people trying to get what they call high authority links on these big sites, when really they need to just be focusing on the basics like these, rather than trying to go for these big links. Next up is keyword targeting. So when it comes to keyword targeting, it's not just as simple as finding your main high volume keywords, creating content for it, and then just mentions it a gazillion times and building links to it. It's not as simple as that. You need to consider, if you want to go down the route of ranking individual pages as well, perhaps creating content which targets certain keywords, you're going to want to consider some of the lower hanging fruit as well, the long tail keywords. Okay, sure, they're probably going to have lower search volume, but if you target more and more of these and you execute enough of them very well, if you execute them well enough, the search volumes will add up over time. An anti-malware company that we worked with, and we used this kind of strategy. They had very good on-page as well, obviously, which helped. Some very, not a huge amount of links, but some very relevant and well-placed links. They managed to grab the top three positions for loads of long-tail keywords, and they ended up with a lot of traffic as a result. And tied into this concept, obviously, is the quality of the content. Depending on the exact tactic or strategy you're using, it might not always be possible to just get a link to your homepage or to your service page or funnel. More often than not, at some point, you're going to have some kind of valuable content or linkable asset to leverage. The content needs to have some sort of appeal to an audience, that you can drive to the content piece. So, for example, if you've got a landscape gardening site, you could create a step-by-step guide to laying a patio, for instance. You could then reach out to sites in the DIY niche, home improvement, these kind of places, and they'd be much more likely to link to a content piece that's like that, something that's really useful, rather than just linking to your homepage or your service page where you're selling patio installation. Your content could even take the form of video, infographic, an industry white paper, just whatever is the most appropriate way of getting the info across. Like, I know what you're thinking. It takes time, it costs money, people don't buy from a content piece. That is true. Those are all the case, but the fact remains, time and money that you invest in content is going to be paid back many times over. Considering that you create content which hits the mark, when you do this and you do it consistent enough, you will be much more likely to consistently build links as well. And with that, while the conversion rates of the traffic might be lower, that comes on a case by case basis, but generally you do find content pages don't have a high conversion rate. However, by the end of it, you'll have significantly more traffic to play with in terms of overall traffic. Revenue will be more statistically significant. You had 5,000 visitors and you're converting 5% of them. That's better than converting 8% of just 500 visitors. Am I right for saying that? And prospecting, this part of the process is going to be key to finding the right target sites. So, i.e., the sites that you're going to be approaching for a link. And what's going to get this off to a strong start and keep it on track is the keywords that you're using to generate your target lists. It's going to come down to finding websites which are, using or associated with certain phrases or terms, or finding pages which mention certain keyword phrases. Along with that, you're going to want to find the right person to contact and ask for a link, whether it's the journalist, the editor, the content manager, just whoever. It depends on the site. And the key thing about this part is, when your keyword prospecting is off, when this stage is off, the target lists you're creating won't be the most ideal sites to approach, and that will reflect in your link success rate as well. So this is a really important part of the process as well. And obviously, you then will reach the outreach stage. So some people, I find a lot of people do overcomplicate this part, but the truth is everything else is leading up to this, and it ends with this. And really, as long as your content, your prospecting, and the relevancy of everything prior to this matches up, this part should be pretty straightforward. You've got something of value to leverage. You show them it, and either they want to link to it or they don't. But the key thing is this: when you show them something to link to, it needs to be worth the while, because they don't have to insert your links. So you need to show them why they should. Now, there's some basic etiquette things to consider as well. It's not really just as simple as this, but a lot of this is common sense. Address them by name. Make sure you spell the name properly and spell for instance, the brand name properly or the blog. Tell them who you are. Make it clear what you're looking for. It needs to be a clear call to action. And the key thing is, keep it short, sweet, and let them know what your value exchange is. Just get to the point. in your email. Now, building links which will have a real impact on your rankings and your traffic is not going to happen overnight. There needs to be a lot of time or investment put into knowing your audience, creating good content ideas, then creating the content from those ideas, prospecting and refining the outreach. But once you do have it all down, once you have all these different parts down, the key is to keep doing it and to be consistent. Especially when you find that your competitors have a pretty decent link profile. And especially if they're actively still building links, you need to get ahead of them. It's not just as simple as blasting the site with a big dose of links, sitting back. If you've got some serious competition, they're quite established, or if they're actively building links as well, you need to step up your game and stay ahead of what they're doing as well. But luckily for you, the kind of way that I teach link building, and if you're doing it this way, a lot of the time you find that there are not a lot of people doing it this way. That a lot of your competitors will not be doing it this way. They'll be, they may not have the best link profiles, or they'll have some decent links, but on the whole, you could still beat them with enough relevant links. So that's it for today's video. Now, this is kind of only touching the surface of what's involved. This is pretty much a crash course in link building and kind of busting a few myths and just explaining the process overall. However, this should lay out some of the realities of link building, perhaps the things people don't discuss, should have shown you how it's really done, and instead of just being a flash in the pan tactic, this is when you do it right, you can create a long-term strategy which you can build on. You can get consistent results for the foreseeable future. So guys, thanks for watching and see you in the next video.